General flow chart for flood control projects. A general flow chart for flood control projects in the Philippines involves planning and assessment, followed by design and engineering, then funding and procurement, construction and implementation, and finally operation, maintenance and monitoring. Key components of this process include identifying flood-prone areas, designing flood control structures, dams, flood walls, securing funding, constructing the projects, and ongoing maintenance like desilting and decklogging to prevent future issues. The Philippine budget process involves 4 overlapping phases: budget preparation, where government agencies submit proposals and the President's budget is finalized; budget legislation, where Congress deliberates and passes the General Appropriations Act (GAA); budget execution, where funds are released to agencies for program implementation; and accountability, where agencies report on performance and funds are audited. The Development Budget Coordinating Committee (DBCC) determines national economic targets and overall expenditure levels. Government agencies develop and submit their budget proposals based on these targets. The Department of Budget and Management (DBM) conducts technical hearings to review and evaluate these proposals. The budget is reviewed by the President and the Cabinet, consolidating it into the proposed national expenditure program. The President submits the finalized proposed budget to Congress to begin the legislation phase. Congress, particularly the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations, debates and scrutinizes the proposed budget. Agencies are summoned to justify their budgets, with DBM providing technical assistance. The proposed budget is passed by Congress and ratified into law as the General Appropriations Act (GAA). The DBM releases allotments to government agencies based on the approved GAA. Agencies implement programs and projects using the released funds. The process involves ongoing monitoring and evaluation of actual performance and fund utilization. The DBM releases funds to the DPWH through Special Allotment Release Orders, SAROs, or Quick Response Funds, QRFs, for specific projects, after DPWH requests are submitted and approved, ensuring these funds align with national infrastructure and development programs. The process involves the DPWH requesting funds for projects, which the DBM then evaluates and releases through official documents, often with details about the project's purpose and status. For example, the DBM released funds for right-of-way payments and for replenishing the DPWH's QRF after natural disaster. The DPWH assigns contractors for flood control projects through a bidding process that involves advertising the projects, conducting technical and financial evaluations of participating bidders, and awarding the contract to the bidder who meets the qualifications and offers the most responsive bid. Contractors must provide detailed plans and meet specific requirements for equipment, personnel, and quality standards to be considered for these public works projects. Once a contractor is post-qualified, the BAC issues a resolution of award. The DPWH prepares the contract agreement, and once signed by both parties, it issues a notice to proceed. The winning contractor then officially begins the flood control project. DPWH and COA. The Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, and the Commission on Audit, COA, both monitor flood control projects in the Philippines, with DPWH overseeing project execution and COA conducting financial and performance audits to ensure proper use of funds and project compliance with regulations and technical specifications. DPWH focuses on physical progress and contractor adherence, while COA's role involves detailed financial audits and technical inspections to identify issues like project delays, cost overruns, technical defects, and potential ghost projects. DPWH's role. Project implementation. As the primary implementing agency, the DPWH is responsible for the physical construction and execution of flood control projects. Monitoring and supervision. The department conducts field monitoring to authenticate projects, verify their status, and ensure that contractors are following specifications and timelines. Quality assurance. DPWH also ensures projects are done properly, with provisions in contracts for redoing work that is not in accordance with regulations. COA's role. Independent audits. The COA performs independent financial and performance audits on government projects, including flood control projects implemented by the DPWH. Technical inspections. COA dispatches its own technical personnel to conduct in-person inspections of projects to confirm their physical existence, verify their status against contract designs, and check for compliance. Identifying deficiencies. COA's audits identify key issues such as inadequate planning and engineering, leading to project delays. Lack of proper supervision and monitoring by the DPWH. Non-implementation, delays, and technical defects in projects. Violations of procurement laws and contract terms. Ghost projects. COA also flags ghost projects, which are projects that are paid for but are not physically executed. How they work together. Checks and balances. COA's audit findings serve as a crucial check on the DPWH's implementation of projects, ensuring accountability and transparency. Public accountability. The findings and reports from both agencies contribute to public oversight and can be used to hold contractors and implementing agencies accountable. The controversial practice of insertions. In the Philippines, the term insertions often refers to the unofficial and controversial practice of adding specific, unauthorized projects to the national budget during the legislative process. Bicameral Conference Committee. Insertions have historically been linked to the secretive deliberations of the Bicameral Conference Committee, where lawmakers reconcile different versions of the budget. Pork barrel. This practice was famously tied to the now unconstitutional Priority Development Assistance Fund, PDAF, which allocated lump sum appropriations to lawmakers to fund projects they identified. Lack of transparency. The lack of transparency surrounding the insertion of specific items has raised questions about potential corruption and the prioritization of personal interests over public welfare, as seen in recent news reports involving flood control projects. Today Lacson confirms P600M budget insertion for Bulacan flood control. Senate President pro tempore Pangulo Lacson on Thursday confirmed the existence of a P600 million fund for Bulacan flood control projects in the 2023 unprogrammed budget. Lacson, who chairs the Senate Blue Ribbon Panel, made the revelation during the panel's hearing on flood control, citing the need for transparency. "We want to be fair, we want to be transparent, we want to be honest, especially to the public." Just to lend credence to the assertion of Bryce Hernandez. "I don't know if it's J.P. Mendoza or Bryce Hernandez," Lacson said, referring to former Bulacan Assistant 1st District Engineer J.P. Mendoza and former Public Works and Highways District Engineer. Indeed, there really is P600 million as described, as enumerated under the unprogrammed fund. "This is what you're claiming Senator Joel inserted for Bulacan," he said in Filipino. Lacson said he counted the insertions, noting 7 or 8 items, worth P75 million each, totaling P600 million. The alleged insertion was earlier linked by a former Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, official to Villanueva. At the House Infrastructure Committee hearing, Mendoza was asked by presiding officer and Bicol Saro Party List Representative Terry Ryden to clarify images of a smartphone screen showing exchanges with a certain Senator Joel. Mendoza said Villanueva requested P1.5 billion from former DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara for a multi-purpose building, but Alcantara said that only P600 million could be allocated by then DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Thank you for viewing. Click subscribe.